Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of the Freshman 15 College Football Podcast with me, LP Cruz. Talk college football with my guy Tyler Moore for about 15 minutes or less, or more, depends. And as every week proves in the NCAA, it's a game of inches with several teams needing just that much to get their W's last week. And every team in the top 10 had held serve. So that means Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss cruise to big time wins, minus Ole Miss playing the Citadel, beating them 49-0. Meanwhile, the Aggies and Marcel Reed, they keep coasting on the way to the SEC title with a balanced attack against Missouri, and the Crimson Tide roll to their 8th straight win. So before we examine this week's games, Todd, my dude, what's up with last week?
Not much. There were some games that you and I predicted to be really close, and they both of them almost came out on top. So, yeah, we can get into that, and yeah, I'm excited because this week features some really big games, mainly in the SEC as usual. But yeah, we'll get to that.
So you know what's funny, man? You posted a clip in the group chat where I was like, no way, no way, no way. So I gotta let you take the floor first, man, with your upset pick that was so close to hitting.
Yeah, so the upset pick last week was I did take Iowa to beat Oregon, but right before that I said maybe Indiana loses to Penn State, and that both of those came down to the very last drive, and and the reason I said that is because we talked about it when Oregon came into the Big Ten is like these West Coast teams, are they going to be able to play against play in the Midwest come November and stuff like that. So then, that was like my big point for when we made the upset picks was like, hey, it's supposed to be 42 degrees, raining and windy in Iowa, and it fell right into their hands. Like Gronkowski, or however you say it. Sorry, I can't say his name.
Or something like that.
Yeah, he had more passing yards than Dante Moore. So the only way that they won is because that final drive, they couldn't stop Whittington. And that. In Big Ten football, true fashion is you run the ball to win the game in November, and it came down to that field goal at the very end. But I mean, Iowa was this close. We've seen them play Indiana really close early in the year because Iowa always has a good defense. And when it came down to it, like they just couldn't make that stop. And I mean, there's some like coaching. Some coaching flaws that happened in both of those games. Like even the Penn State game, like Penn State should have beaten Indiana. We can talk about that a little bit later too. But it was so close, and I thought I was going to be 2 for 2 on for this weekend. But it was 2 points in that game, and it could have went either way. And I think that gives a lot of people like is Oregon really that good, or maybe the Big Ten isn't as bad as what people think they are.
So you're kind of hitting it. I mean, I wanted to say this for our walk-off segment later at the end of the show, but I think you're kind of hitting it with Oregon because now with Oregon, they do escape a Big Ten win versus Iowa, but this happened kind of similar with Penn State as well, man. Went into Happy Valley. Yeah, they got the win, but they had to go by the rushing attack to get their win. And I'm starting to see, and again, I said it all year, that their whole offense is funneled through a young quarterback and a tight end. And now I'm starting to ask questions about them. If you can remind me later, because I do want to come back to this point, because it's going to matter later. Believe me, I got something for that whole Oregon thing. But yeah, man, I think that's a great point. Indiana took inches, man, just pure
literally football's game of inches, and that was it. Yeah.
So yeah, man. And then you and I actually we had marked the same game for the Saturday Spotlight. That was Texas Tech and BYU.
Yeah.
To quote, man, the late great Dennis Green, they are who we thought they were, man. I didn't believe BYU at all. I just thought they're inexperienced at quarterback. How do they operate? They don't really have an explosive offense, so they have to kind of run the ball and fist fight you with pretty good defense. But I think that's just my curiosity. What happens now when he has to win from the pocket, Bear Backmeyer? We have our answer. They got down early, went into halftime, and the biggest part I thought for Texas Tech, because I like how they rush the passer with Bailey and Height. But it's just how they play the run. And that's a shout out to the linebacker, Rodriguez, man. He's everywhere. I think he's one of the top linebackers in the country. But just how they condensed everything, even the running game. Like LJ Martin never got off for BYU. And Martin and Backmeyer, that's like their 1-2 punch quarterback, running back, as you see in college football. 47 yards on 21 carries. Crushed them.
Yeah.
Just straight crushed them, man.
Yeah, and it's BYU, they didn't score until midway through the fourth quarter. It was 26-0. So I mean, it was just just go down and garbage. It's garbage. That's straight garbage time. And then it was what were the other big plays in that game? There was the backwards pass that just like dumb little things And it's just like you can't do that, especially in games that like in November and these games we know these games count for something.
Magnified.
Yeah, yeah, like you said, magnified, and it's like you said, like you doubted them. You said I don't
Knew
think
it.
they are who they think they are, and that proves to be the point. But then at the same time, Texas Tech they do look a good team, but I definitely see flaws within them.
Hmm. Hmm.
You see flaws within a lot of these teams, and like as these games start to mean more, and they are more magnified in November, you start to see cracks in these teams that are
You
supposedly
do.
good. You're gonna see those cracks, and the gap the gap between one and then the rest of the field is continuously to get wider. So
Oh, that's what this is about. That's what this is about.
yeah,
Shout out to Ohio State, man. I mean,
yeah,
while we're talking about it, man, even Texas Tech, and I like what they're doing. Again, defensively, they're pretty impressive. And what we've seen over the past, I don't know, maybe like since the start of the podcast, I think the team that usually has the best defense in the Big 12 kind of stands out until,
correct.
it's a phantom to another phantom pulls up next to you. Now you're like, okay, let's take a look. But I give them their due. Like I said, them having a pretty good defense for Texas Tech, it does show. Um, but I think their quarterback, Barry Morton, not really a fan.
Right.
I'm not really a fan, man. So that's kind of how I feel about it. So then I also had a upset pick that I had was Wake Forest and UVA, and that's another team. I was like, they're not as good as you think they are, man.
Yeah.
And it showed. And I mean, they lost their quarterback, so that's a big part of it. So yeah, obviously, but just mustering 9 points against Wake Forest kind of showed. And it wasn't like Wake Forest was doing a great job of offensively. They were running the football. They're running the football. They're kind of finding their spots. Jamar Taylor did okay for UVA, but they just could
Mhm.
not put points on the board. You had a missed field goal, a punt return touchdown by Carlos Hernandez. It's just that was the biggest play of the game. The only touchdown in the game was a punt return, and it cost them. So um, predictable though, man. Predictable. I'm not a believer in UVA. I don't think they have enough offense to muster, and I don't get why they're still ranked in the top 20.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I mean, if you want to go into like I would say that the ACC is the loser for this week because you had Louisville lose to Cal, you had
Mm.
Virginia lose, and it's like there's no one out of that conference that you're not even giving them a puncher's chance at this point. Like Georgia Tech, no, they're not gonna stand
It
up
was nice
to.
while it lasted, bro.
Yeah, they're not going to stand up to like even like a Notre Dame. They're just the ACC is down, and they had been for a couple of years now, ever since Clemson fell off a cliff. And
Florida State.
yeah. I mean that's what it is. The loser is the ACC. And we just see like the importance of being good in these big conferences, and
Hmm.
and when you fall wayside, like except for like Notre Dame because they historically start slow and they always come back and they're
Yeah,
always a
yeah, yeah.
contender. But like if you're not in one of these two super conferences and you're not like good, if you're outside of these conferences, if you're not like good, you don't stand out. You're not gonna stand a chance. Even with like you will make it in, but you're gonna get blown out.
Boise
Essentially what I'm
State.
saying. Yeah, you're gonna
Boise
get blown
State.
out. So yeah,
I mean, unless you're Arizona State last year, it all depends, honestly. But I think the further you get along, you kind of get exposed a little bit. Even Washington against Michigan, like they kind of all have their stops. But I went on a positive note for last week as far as who helped themselves the most, and you're gonna like this one, man. Julian Sand.
yeah,
And I think it's just the consistency of it, man. I know because I'm still having a hard time trying to identify who's my Heisman, who's my clear cut guy. There's not a said it a lot this year, but there's not a Genty, there's not a Travis Hunter, there's just not
right.
a wow guy. But who's playing the best right now? And he's playing the best at a quarterback on the best team. And I think now he's gotten over 304 to 5 games now.
Yeah.
4 to 5 games in that span. That's 14 TDs to 1 interception. And I know he's got all these great playmakers and stuff like that, but somebody's got to get him the ball. You know what I'm saying? It's all coming from somewhere. And I think you're starting to see kind of slowly but surely they're kind of letting him go a little bit. They're kind of pulling back the reins a little bit. And he's starting to find himself. I think in a kind of a glutted kind of Heisman candidacy of who's that. I can't give you 5 guys off the top of my head. I'm like, okay, yeah, they're all great.
Correct.
It's like a 2 or 3 horse race. I think right now 2 with him and Mendoza. I looked at Marcel Reed. He's winning, yes, but he's not wowing you, from week to week. And Mendoza's he's a great prospect. It's a big win, even though it's Penn State, and they're not that good. Still a big win for him. I just think that he can really fluff his resume saying that is with the next two games he has. You have UCLA, just smash him. Rutgers, just smash him. But then you get to play at Michigan, and
Yeah,
that's the one.
yeah,
If you can beat Michigan to help out Ryan Day a little bit, I'm like,
yeah.
that's your guy. So
Yeah.
they props
So
to him, man.
yeah, the thing for me is like you if you listen to Ryan Day talk and you listen to like even Brian Hartline talk, and I've said it before, they're still saying that these guys are only playing at like 75%. They're watching their guys' snap
Pulling back.
counts. They haven't went full gas yet. And you've seen that
Yeah, yeah.
against Purdue because they had a four running back rotation. They're trying to get their running game going because that's like the weak part of their
Hmm.
offense, and
Hmm.
they're gonna do the same thing again against UCLA. So you look at the score and you're like, oh, Ohio State only beat him 34-10. Well, why? Because they're trying new things on offense. They're working out kinks on offense because you go up 28-0, and then you're spending the rest of the game doing whatever you want to do. So, like
Right, right.
they're easily like if they wanted to, they could throw up 60 points on a Purdue. But they're not doing that. They're trying to work kinks out. But like you said, I like Julian saying. I think I've said that from like the week one of this year. But like he can do everything like his layered passes over the top. Just playing levels and stuff like that. So it's
Hmm.
and to be this far into the season and hold over 80% completion percentage is pretty wild.
Insane, man.
Yeah.
Insane. And he's hit that mark in 4 out of the last 5 games too.
Yeah, and then
Just
you
consistent.
have some people saying that he's a check down merchant, but he's in his passes over 30 yards, he's like 19 of 22. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. So yeah,
No
onward to
doubt for a
this
second,
weekend.
man.
Yeah,
All right. So starting us off, we have the Saturday spotlight. I'm gonna trust you have the exact same game that I do, right?
yeah, and it plays both for me. I'm doing,
Upset.
yeah.
Ooh.
I'm taking Texas over Georgia. That's for
Lead the
me.
way, sir.
Yeah,
Lead the
that's
way.
for me. Texas, they've been on the rise lately. I'm hoping
Hmm.
horns up for this one. I'm doing my usual Kirby Smart hatred thing going here,
Of
but
course.
I think with Steve Sarkisian, geez, I think they played Georgia tight the last couple times they played them, and I think that he will get the better of Kirby Smart this time because I don't think Georgia's defense is all that good. They played a lot of really close games against inferior teams and
Hmm.
especially like the Tennessee game. They lost to Alabama, and it's just like you can't do that against
Hmm.
a team that they are Texas is ascending right now. I think they've kind of figured things out. Arch may have settled down. And then, like we said last week, these SEC games, they are playoff games for these teams that already have one or two
Absolutely.
losses. So it's all chips on the table, and I think Georgia. This is the game of the week for me. Like I said, it's 7:30 game,
Easily.
and I think Georgia loses to Texas. And I actually think that Texas is going to win by 2 scores.
Ooh, no, that's a
Yeah,
hot pick. So I think easily based on all the talent you're going to see on the field, it has to be the Saturday spotlight. I mean,
correct.
there's just everything about it, the matchups, the teams, the talents. You know, the scouts are going down there, like they're going to Athens, clearly. And I think for me, the question has been Arch Manning and how he just kind of navigates playing against the pass rush of Georgia on the road, big game. Like I said, it's a playoff game. For all
Correct.
intents and purposes, this is a playoff
Absolutely.
game for Arch Manning. And I think what's going to have to happen for them is they're going to have to open up the offense a little bit. Ryan Wingo's got to get down the field a little bit more because I can definitely see them stopping the run at Georgia. I think it's going to be just the Manning showcase here at Georgia. And then for Georgia, as far as offense goes, I think they're going to try to run the ball. They try to run the ball with their running backs, try to open up the deep crossers for Zachariah Branch. I just think it's going to be a big thing. And for Georgia, thematically, if they win this game and they put that notch in their belt to win the game, now you have an easy game next week. You have Charlotte, nothing. You have Georgia Tech, I believe at home as well, nothing. So for them, it's like if you win this game, you can kind of coast and cruise. You're going to have your citadels, if you will, to kind of
Mhm.
coast and cruise off of that. And then if you look at Texas, if they win this game, which is a big win for them, if they win, now you kind of work them back into the conversation. Probably not the SEC title game; they're probably too far out for that. But to be the at-large team, if you will, because I want to tie this back to Oregon as well. Now we talked about Oregon before, right? If Oregon doesn't play in the title game, are they in? With the high seed? Probably not. But Texas, however, if they win and they win out and they'll make the title game for the SEC, yeah, you got to kind of stick them in there. Plus, let's not forget, Texas has a game to end the season with A&M as well. So
Correct.
if they can hammer A&M, Yeah, I mean, it's just big, man. And I hate to say it, but Pat, if you're listening, they could be back.
Yeah. So is that your upset pick for the week too? Is that game as well?
Nah, it's not. I'm gonna go even worse. I'm gonna go even worse, man. So my upset pick, I wanted to go with. I had to think about this for a sec. I'm going with Pitt.
Oh,
I'm going.
that's a good one.
I'm going with Pitt, man. Pitt Notre Dame. So usually we know, right? When the guys are traveling to Pittsburgh, they're trying to tell you something. They know something that we don't. And I've always admired how Pitt plays. Can you talk about the ACC being kind of up and down? Well, Pitt's right there in first place, or tied for first place
Yeah.
in the conference. And it's just been
Freshman
kind of weird,
quarterback
man. Yeah, yeah.
from here.
Um,
He's from here. He's like 20 miles down the road. Clay High
is that
School.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, so I know you're watching. I know
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah. They talk about it a lot here. So yeah.
So I mean, if you kind of look at it a little bit, just in their case, they can kind of take over the conference. We talked about Tech, Georgia Tech, that is. Miami's been up and down. Louisville's been up and down. Clemson is way out of pocket, and Florida State's not even to be talked about. So it just looks like a perfect matchup for them. And I think I
Mhm.
like how they play their defense. Remember that they're that base nickel 4-3 large linebackers want to clog your passing lanes with their cover four scheme, but they also want to stop the run. If they can do that, they can stop the run, win first and second down, play the coverage. They're going to be pretty good, man. I think this is a game where in this quarterback, Heinzel, I'm saying it right,
Yeah.
Mason Heinzel, he's been also lighting it up the last four games as well, man. 300 yards in four of the last five, just really playing great football.
Mhm.
If they can just get plays here or there, man, just a big play here or there, like a punt return, a block punt, a coverage breakdown from Notre Dame, who's tightened up on that end, overall in the last month or so. I just think they can win this game. If they can win the game here, and they have Miami, Georgia Tech. If they win this game, man, that confidence will go right through the roof. And I can see them winning a dirty game, say 24-21. I'm going to go with the Pitt Panthers.
Okay. So and to kind of go off of that, I kind of want to roll back to because this includes like the Notre Dame thing. I saw a clip
Hmm.
from Joel Klattes from like yesterday. He was
Yeah,
saying that if these teams went out, if Miami wins out and Notre Dame wins out, does who gets into the playoffs based off of that? And he said you have to look at Miami over Notre Dame because they beat them. And I look at that and I'm just like, why? Uh, Notre
shouldn't
Dame.
hold.
Notre Dame, yes, they start off slow, but they started the season off with CJ Carr throwing zero passes
Hmm.
ever in college football, and like look where he's at now. Look how that team has transformed. Yes,
It's
they
poised.
lost to Miami by a score. They lost to Texas A&M by a score, but that team week 1 through 3 is completely different than the team we see now.
Exactly. Exactly.
And to say you have to look back at that head to head and say, hey, this matters,
It
sure, but
doesn't
what
matter.
have you done for me lately? Is kind of the
Exactly.
thing too, because if you say, well, look at this, then Ohio State never would have been in the playoffs the first time ever winning that because that year they lost to Virginia Tech, right? So
Hmm.
if you so it's you can't say, well, they lost to them, and then you have like the Alabama, like trying to force Alabama in last year. Like, yeah, they tried to, but
Couldn't
they
find the
just
case.
yeah, but like you said, they couldn't find the case. But like Notre Dame, they're playing a lot better football than they were at the beginning. Like, hey, we figured out that if we turn around and hand the ball off to the best running back in college football, that works for us.
And you got two of them.
Yeah,
You got two of them.
you got two of them, and then your defense is playing a lot better than what it was, and it's so I usually agree with Joel Klatt because he's very like he thinks about what he says. I'm just like that
He's in
kind of
it.
was like that's a bad take. And then I we don't care about the AP polls anymore because we're getting like committee polls now. But
Exactly right.
those
Exactly
AP
right.
polls are just those ones are absolutely ridiculous. But another big game, I don't mean to monologue here. Another big game
No,
this
you're good,
weekend
man.
that I think would be a setup for disaster is Oklahoma beating Alabama. A venerable dip.
Chaos.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the chaos
Chaos.
because then you said that Texas might not have enough to get into the championship game. That puts them in the championship game.
I just
I
don't
think
see it
Ole Miss might
happening.
lose. Ole Miss might drop one, and then with Texas beating Georgia, if Alabama loses to Oklahoma, and then you had that chance sitting right there, them playing Texas A&M in the very end, like hey, let's showcase this. There's a chance that they can get into the SEC championship game.
So it could happen, right? And I'm just now pulling up the polls now from last week. So if I'm correct, it's the top 16 gets in, right?
the top 12.
12. My bad. Top 12.
Top
So
12.
right now they're holding in. All right. So I'll tell you who are the first four out. And you tell me if you like this or not. First four out are Georgia Tech,
Okay.
Miami, Vandy, and Utah. They're your last four out.
That's fine with me.
Now, it's cool, dude. Last four in, we have BYU, Oklahoma, Texas, and Notre Dame. I'm cool
Okay.
with this.
Yeah.
I'm totally cool with this. Only because looking at everything here, if you were to say, okay, like you said before, Ohio State here, everybody else, and I would tend to agree only because of how loaded they are offensively in the passing game, defensively in the front. The front seven is just dangerous, man, and even in the secondary as well. Ohio State is kind of out there on an island. Indiana, I can't deny Indiana, but do you think unanimously they're the conference bias aside? They are the second best team in the country. Indiana,
I think A&M might be there. But
three.
yeah, I don't like Kurt Signetti in Indiana anyways, and I'm not saying that being to be conference bias. I don't like them because I don't think they're that good. Indiana plays a relatively weak schedule. I mean, you could say the same thing about like Ohio State and stuff like that. But you play the team that's in front of you, but it's I just don't think Indiana is all that they're cracked. And I know I could be eating crow here at the Big Ten championship. They might come out and blow out Ohio State. You just never know. But it's I think Texas A&M is right there as well.
I mean, I agree with you on the point of Indiana because they played Maryland. You guys haven't. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
so it's not like, and again, you can't blame them for their schedule. They don't decide that when the year starts.
Correct.
I just don't see them being head and shoulders above everybody else. I mean, I'd say A&M is right there. So you're looking at A&M. I know probably, because of an expanded playoff here, we're probably, just nitpicking a little bit. Not that that's a problem with that, but I mean, I could say A&M, you've beaten Notre Dame as well. So you beat Notre Dame. You beat LSU when it mattered. You beat Missouri when it might have mattered. And you have a chance to beat Texas too, just to kind of put that final nail in the coffin. So I'm fine with where they stand. I would say maybe the Aggies should be number two. Indiana number three is totally fine.
Yeah.
Alabama, I'm cool with. Texas Tech, I'm cool with. I think this is the one part where they've got it right. If anyone may raise up a stink as far as being maybe hated on a little bit, I guess you could say Ole Miss, perhaps, maybe.
Yeah, so I'm
They're
I'm looking at the SEC standings right now. So A&M is one, Alabama's two, Georgia's three, Rebels are four, Longhorns are five. So Longhorns, let's say they beat Georgia here, so that drops Georgia down,
mhm.
Texas up, and let's say Alabama does lose to Oklahoma this weekend. That's gonna drop Alabama down. So who does Ole Miss? Who's the left on Ole Miss's schedule? Florida and Mississippi
uh,
State. That's their last two. So
they're good.
yeah, you say that, but Florida they can play in a tight game, and it's
With Lagway, he's shown that. I'm because we go back and forth along the SEC quarterbacks too, right? Like
yeah,
we'll pick apart Nussmeier and Lagway, and Lagway deserved it. Let's not get it twisted. He deserved it,
mhm.
but he has given me more confidence in certain games than say Nussmeier. So I think that's not an unfair point. I just feel like Ole Miss may feel like they're getting screwed a little bit, but as far as here, because the only team I would contend a little bit, and again I've already kind of tipped my hand here, is I'm not a believer in BYU.
Right,
Not a believer in BYU. Them at
correct.
12, I don't really like it. Now, just to kind of go a little bit further here, looking at the rest of the field here in their top 25, and I'm not going to take them seriously, but we have Cincinnati at 25, and going from there, South Florida, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Iowa, Louisville, UVA, Michigan, USC, Georgia Tech,
Hmm.
Miami, Vandy, Utah. If anyone I think could make it the case to get back in there, who would it be over BYU?
I'm gonna say one. Did you say USC?
USC's in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna say USC because
You
they're
sure
they're
about that?
yes, their next two games, Iowa number 21 and then Oregon
Good
number
one.
8.
That's a good one also. And it's the one that I've been finally wanting to see them on the road at Autzen in November.
Yeah,
That's the one I wanted to say.
I haven't even looked at what the weather is going to be. But I mean, we know
It ain't gonna be
Iowa
nice.
plays the big teams tight. They played Indiana tight. They played Oregon tight. And can they do it
Hmm.
against what is USC is like the best offense in college football, right?
They're
Statistically,
smoking.
they're I think yeah
They're
they're
smoking.
at least top five. So
Top
if
top
they
receiver,
keep
top
it
quarterback,
close, yeah, and then
100
you're
yards.
going against a top 10 next not 10 top 10 team next week in Oregon. And who does Oregon play this week? Let's see here. Oregon plays Minnesota this week, and then USC, and then Washington. So I mean, this week it's setting up. So if they beat, so if USC if they beat Iowa this week,
Hmm.
and then you're gonna have one of those top teams fall because I think one of those top teams play each other. They're gonna fall. So then USC's sitting like there, maybe let's say 15 or so, and then if they
Hmm.
go in and they beat Oregon, who's sitting at number 8, maybe they jump up to like 6 with one of those other teams losing, and then you have a 15 beat 6, and then USC's like, "Hi guys, I'm ready to bust into here," and I think there's your bracket busters, USC Trojans. You know, and I'm historically down on them, but I think
That too.
that's the team that sneaks in as like an at large is USC, and
So
that's good for college football.
I
Can
was
you
no,
can you
yeah, it's
imagine
great.
USC going up against a Texas Longhorns again? I mean, that's money in Texas or something like that. I mean, that's straight money. That's money. You're printing money at whatever stadium you're playing at. So.
That's what you do. I mean, the one that I was hoping for, maybe for them, and I know because they've gone quiet too, like really, really quiet. And my team was actually Michigan because Michigan has the loss against USC, who could push, right? And I guess maybe not. If you were to pit USC and Michigan, they would say, well, look, USC did beat them at home, so we can't even put them in there. But what if, let's say, things get tight and Michigan has a pretty close game against you at Ann Arbor? Then what?
I don't think so. There,
Hmm.
um,
It's just the quarterback. I know. It's
yeah,
the quarterback. I
no,
know.
I mean it is. He's thrown for like what 9 touchdowns this year. I mean that's you're counting too much on your running backs. You're basically like a
Yeah.
northern version of Georgia Tech. That's the way you're playing right now.
Mm,
And
mm.
that's not gonna fly in the big leagues. So, they know that it's a rivalry weekend. That weekend, we know everything is off the table.
That's what
And
I'm
Ryan
saying.
Ryan Day clams up. I don't know. It'd be a shocker to me, but yeah,
Yeah. But I
they
will.
could sing. What are they ranked right now? I haven't even looked.
18.
Okay,
Right ahead of USC.
no, I think the team that sneaks in is USC because they'll have it would. I think it. Let me look at Michigan's schedule real quick. That would be.
It's nothing. It's Maryland, Northwestern. I mean, road games. Maryland, Northwestern, and then they
Ohio
play you
State.
guys. Yeah. So, and the thing is, I don't think any of these teams here that are left have it. I mean, the only team that would be like a Cinderella of sorts would have to be Pittsburgh running it. Like Pittsburgh would have to win this week, then run it. I mean, run through, win the ACC title, and then be locked in as the last team in. That's the only
Okay.
thing I can look at. Like it has to be Pitt. I don't see any other Cinderellas here. I mean, Florida being ranked is cool. South Florida, that is cool. Cincinnati kind of blew their chances a while ago with their losses in the Big 12. I just think they nailed it. They nailed it. And even Iowa being 21, it's fair because they play a lot harder competition. Like it's fair to
Yeah,
say.
I think the team, if anyone does it, and I know Massey will like this, is USC. And that's the college football gods are like foaming at the mouth for that, for USC to to get into the playoffs, because then you're gonna get a possibility for an Alabama versus USC, the game that you like never really see.
That's a good.
Yeah,
That's a
you're
good
gonna
one.
you're gonna see like you're gonna see those Big Ten, well, now a Big Ten team for the blue bloods of college football. You never really see a Georgia versus a USC. You never see Alabama versus
Mm-mm.
USC. So it's very intriguing, and like that's a high flying offense, and hey, can these defenses who always beat up on each other, can they keep pace with
Yeah.
a Lincoln Riley offense. Like he ran from the SEC to end up actually play them after playing through the Big Ten schedule. So it's
Yeah.
very fun to see.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Again, I'm with it. Just looking it over. There's nobody else that kind of fits. I think that they've got it right. Like right now, where we're at with the top 11, I have no qualms and no arguments here whatsoever. It'll just depend how the next 3 weeks play out. And again, a lot of these things are going to shape out because you have teams like, again, Miami, they have Pitt later on in the season. So if Pitt wins, it kind of boosts their resume. It's all about boosting the resume, man. It's all it is. Putting together a good resume for them to kind of decide in their head what they want to do. And for Texas, it all starts this week. Texas has got to pull off a win
Yeah.
against Georgia, man. And that'll create the domino effect for everybody else following suit.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And like you said, November football is the best football. You know, Bill Belichick always said, you know, football starts after Thanksgiving, and that's for professional. But you know, starting November 1st, you know, in the middle of conference play is when you're separating like good guys and bad guys, and you're really going to see how it plays off now, especially with the playoff
Yeah, man.
format.
You already know what it is, dude.
Yep.
Any last thoughts you got?
No, I'm gonna jump off my high horse for today. Quit my monologues, but yeah, it's a good week for college football this week for sure, for sure.
Absolutely, bro. So for my dude Tyler Moore, this is LP Cruz. This has been the Freshman 15 College Football Podcast. Peace.
Peace.